Good morning, and welcome to Gunn Multimedia Partners, Inc. I'm Michelle Gunn, and what I wanted to do was start a little bit of a video, our video presentations. And video is so important in today's age, whether it's on your website or whether it's a monthly show that you put on giving tips and information about your business that can help your clients. So what I'd like to show you in this episode or this edition is a little bit of how we start branding companies. Sometimes companies come to us and they've had years of logo work that they've used that might have been something that they created themselves, or they went to a graphic artist and they were on a little bit of a budget and it wasn't as thought through as it needed to be with the growth that has happened with their company. So they come to us. What we do is we revamp their logo, still keeping the integrity of what they've built by revamping, refreshing. So some of the things we go through is I'd like to show you. I apologize for the camera. It's a little bit of a shot. Okay, so what we do here is we go through some of research. We start with research in terms of sometimes we go to the library, sometimes we go to the web. But in this particular instance, we actually went to the library and picked up some old books that were actually old and new. Some were brochure design books, some were graphic design that's worked, advertising that's worked in the past that you see, the classic signs of good graphic design, which is either, great handling of negative and positive spaces, and also things that might have brought bits of color in that really could work for your client. So in this instance, we brought up something like this. Our client is targeting more of a management type role. His target clientele would be CEOs, CFOs, COOs of companies. So what we wanted to do was, he actually works in the technology sector. What we'd like to do is brand him a little bit more of a expert in technology. So we wanted to come up with something a little bit more sophisticated when it came to he's using his name as part of his business. So here what we see is, it's actually an acronym, so ways to use letters that are very interesting, ways to actually use those letters and kind of throw them around to have a little bit of a whimsical, a nice, artistic, something that's going to catch the eye type of thing. In this instance, here, this trend where you've got a whimsical kind of background and it's not too colorful, because color's starting to be a little bit more transparent in this. We're talking 2012 now, January in 2012. You're seeing this kind of becoming the trend where things become a little bit more simpler. I really liked this as the background, maybe to his brochure or his business card. Also, here is a nice way to bring in a something of a texture that still adds, and it adds dimension to the peripherals, whether it be, again, a brochure or a business card. And it's a nice way to not add another color or another image, but add a dimension. Also, something like this, I was looking at buzzwords. This is a good example where they really, the different sections, or in this case, the different products, perform and again, perform a certain function, and they use that buzzword to really start out that section or highlight that product. I really, that's a good approach. Also here, I was thinking bring in color, but again, with the neutrals, a more sophisticated palette. And I like the translucent cards. These are actually plastic see-through cards. Okay, and here, the gradation of color is a little aged, is a little dated right now, but it's still very important, just to, again, give that dimension. There was also one more that I'd like to show you. Hold on a second. Okay, all right, so how we approach this in a way, first the designer will come up with fonts that she likes. And with these fonts, what I do is the creative directors go through and say, okay, this sort of tells our story, this sort of tells our story. In this case, I wanted to get rid of the serifs. So I really kind of stuck with this, picked things that were sans serif. Again, here, you know, I liked this being a little odd. I think it's got a little, I like the feathering of the edges. It's got a little bit of character, but it's not completely one industry versus the other. So I also asked her to maybe play with these type things. So here's what she initially came up with. What we said was we really liked the way that she had circled the consultants over here, because again, he's targeting more of a management type of role. And, you know, we really wanted to highlight that it was about them being the consultants. The client actually went with this clean look, and what he'd like us to do is work this into the that whole circle into this logo. So that's our next step. So for now, I'll show you the finished logo when we're finished. But for now, thank you for tuning in, and I hope I gave some insight on how it's easy to start rebranding. Okay, see you next week. Bye.